What's up with it, everybody? It's your man, Moya B.
And Nicole.
And we're back at it, baby, with another reaction video. Yeah, so this is a special video request from Mars Blackman. Mars, stay supporting our channel. We thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Oh, yeah.
Man, so appreciate you so much.
Yep, and he wants us to check out the top 10 serial killers that were never caught.
Dang.
It's going to be super cool.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool.
I like this murder mystery stuff.
I'm sure.
I'm super excited.
I'm sure we probably gonna recognize some of them.
Probably, yeah. Especially because I've been listening to that podcast now. So
yeah.
I probably heard of a lot of them.
So we finna dive right into it. And again, Mars,
thank
you for your support.
Make sure to lock your doors and windows. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 serial killers who were never caught. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at the maniacs that not only got away with their grisly deeds, but who to this day have never been successfully identified. Caution in advance, this content might be disturbing to some viewers.
Chris Bush was a known pedophile at the time of the murders.
Dang.
And he committed suicide after the last victim was killed.
Oh.
Number 10, the West Mesa Bone Collector.
Why does this case remain unsolved after all this time?
On February 2nd, 2009, the bodies of multiple women were found buried together.
Oh, you just kill women.
They were mostly prostitutes and had all gone missing between 2001 and 2005.
I have heard of this one.
The gruesome discovery was made by a woman on the West Mesa of Albuquerque, New Mexico, who noticed a human bone while walking her dog.
Dang.
An investigation and excavation ensued, and 11 bodies and 1 fetus were uncovered, leading police to believe the work to be that of a serial killer.
I know who killed her, and I know who did it, and I know why. Okay, bye.
While there have been very few leads, investigators suspect that the killings might be linked to the yearly state fair, which draws large crowds and prostitutes to the area.
Police say they're not only going after prostitutes, but also child predators.
Number 9, the Atlanta Ripper.
Oh!
In 1911, the Atlanta Ripper began his killing streak. By year's end, anywhere from 15 to 21 women's deaths were connected to the murderer, or murderers. The victims of the Ripper were all dispatched in the same way, their throats deeply slit. Each of the female victims was black and in her 20s. However, it wasn't until the 6th murder that police began to consider the possibility of a serial killer. Some speculate that the lack of a lead, as well as racial prejudice of the time, led to the delay of the investigations, and their ultimately being dismissed. While several men were arrested, no charges were ever brought to court, and the case remains unsolved.
Wow.
Number 8, Jack the Stripper, also known as the Hammersmith Nudes murderer.
What?
Here we go now. We're not through yet.
This murderer appeared and disappeared from the streets of London in the mid-1960s. This maniac earned the moniker Stripper by virtue of his habit of undressing his victims before dumping them. The victims, and 2 other possible victims, were all between the ages of 21 and 30, and frequently bore similar paint fleck marks, which was thought to point to where the murderer worked. However, despite evidence found, no arrests were made. John DeRose, chief superintendent of Scotland Yard, had identified one Mungo, Ireland as the most probable culprit. Unfortunately, around the time a possible link was made to Ireland, he killed himself via carbon monoxide poisoning.
Dang,
the truth of his guilt or innocence died with him. Number 7, the Phantom Killer. The Texarkana Moonlight murders have spawned several urban legends and films. But in 1946, for the residents of the Twin Cities of Texarkana, Texas, and Texarkana, Arkansas, it was all too real. The first attack came against Jimmy Hollis and his girlfriend Mary Larry, who had parked their car on a secluded stretch of road known as Lover's Lane.
Sammy,
It just look old.
Sound familiar?
Move your head.
Though Hollis sustained skull injuries and Larry was assaulted. About a month later, another couple wasn't so lucky. 3 weeks later, 2 teens were shot and killed. After that, a married couple was attacked, but only the husband died. Hollis and Larry were the best lead for the killer's appearance, stating that he wore a white hood. But when the killing stopped, so did investigations. Number 6. The Servant Girl Annihilator.
Occupation. With the exception of the white women, everybody is a servant. 3 of them are cooks.
Between 1884 and 1885, the people of Austin, Texas were reeling in shock from a seemingly endless string of brutal murders. Each murder took place while the victims were in the so-called safety of their own beds.
Damn.
The Servant Girl Annihilator's name was devised by writer O. Henry in a letter penned to a friend, remarking, quote, "Town is fearfully dull, except for the frequent raids of the Servant Girl Annihilators, who make things lively in the dull hours of the night."
She was dragged outside and the job was finished out in the yard.
Well, that's one way to discuss an axe murderer.
Yeah.
Wendy, I'm home.
The murders ended suddenly on Christmas Eve 1885. Some believe they only stopped as he boarded a ship to begin his reign of terror elsewhere.
Damn.
Number 5. The Oakland County Child Killer, also known as the babysitter.
I've heard of
The
this
loss
one.
of a child is
You heard
every
of-
parent's worst
I
nightmare.
heard.
I think so.
Sadly, for 4 families in Oakland County, Michigan, that nightmare came true.
They didn't cry until I left them.
Over 13 months, 4 children were kidnapped and murdered. The deaths resulted in the largest murder investigation in U.S. history to that time. Several witnesses came forward, but provided no concrete leads. One witness claimed to have seen one of the boys talk to a man in a blue AMC Gremlin, prompting investigators to inquire after every Gremlin owner in the country.
If he was involved, he should have been in jail and he shouldn't have been out the night Timmy was abducted.
Further leads have included everything from pedophile rings to satanic rituals for the reason behind the abductions. Answers about the killer or killers, however, remain elusive.
Is that good enough for the family? No, it's not.
Number 4. Charlie Chopoff. This vicious killer was known for targeting African-American boys exclusively.
Dang, he must
yeah.
be
Earned
racist.
his ghoulish moniker from the brutal injuries he would inflict upon his victims. One of Charlie's victims did, however, survive his attack, and in 1974, police apprehended a suspect, Armando Soto. Caught in the act of kidnapping a Puerto Rican boy, Soto was brought in for questioning. The surviving boy said he thought he looked like his attacker, but he couldn't be sure.
Yeah, it's kind of hard with kids.
Yeah.
Despite confessing to one of the murders, the Manhattan State Hospital, a psychiatric institution at which Soto was a patient, claimed Soto could not be guilty, but did say it was possible he could have slipped out on their watch. Number 3, the
Damn.
Long Island serial killer, also known as the Craigslist Ripper.
Dang. Craigslist
Calls
River.
describing in graphic detail how he sexually tortured and killed Melissa.
This killer's been at it a while. In 2010, a police dog in training located the first body. It wasn't long before investigators found more in the area, alerting them to the possibility of a serial killer. As the area was probed further, bits and pieces of bodies were found up and down Gilgo Beach in Suffolk County, New York. All of the victims, disposed of over a 20-year period, were associated with the sex trade, several
Dang.
of them soliciting
That's a long time.
services over Craigslist. Almost nothing is known about this killer, except that he is morbidly prolific. The investigation is ongoing.
There are thousands
still
of
looking for
exploited
him.
servers on the internet, so he's not going to run out of victims anytime soon.
Yeah.
Number 2, Jack
Almost
the
like there's
Ripper.
a movie off of each one of them.
Are gonna bring out Jack the Ripper.
One of the most notorious cases in history. This unidentified serial
Yeah, they never
killer
did
sent
figure out
the
who it
Whitechapel
was.
District of
They got
London
speculations,
into a
but-
panic
Yeah.
in the late Victorian era. After a series of ghastly murders,
Well, he's probably
was
dead now.
uncovered.
I mean,
Well,
It's hard to
yeah.
think of another killer who's inspired as much lore, research, or as many
true.
theories over his identity.
Yeah.
In part because of the extreme brutality of the killings and the taunts the killer sent the frustrated police, his name has taken on an almost fabled aspect.
So, Jack the Ripper isn't just merely killing hordes. He's executing traitors.
The most famous tease came in the form of the From Hell letter, which was sent with half the kidney of one of his victims.
Yeah.
He claimed to have eaten the other half. Before we identify our most notorious entry, here are a few dishonorable mentions. Number 1, the Zodiac Killer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not the Zodiac.
Undoubtedly the most elusive killer in American history, the Zodiac Killer is like something straight out of a Hollywood nightmare. also one to pen letters to the police. He did so by way of puzzles and complex cryptograms, boasting about his feats and demanding that his letters be published on page 1 of the newspapers, or else the body count would rise. This killer would hunt his victims, usually young couples in secluded areas, before carrying out his work.
Dang.
Similarities in method and physical description have led some to postulate that the Zodiac and Phantom Killer may be one and the same. Regardless, the Zodiac has left a grisly legacy all his own.
This man was a terrorist, and a terrorist that was American grown.
Crazy, man.
Definitely another interesting one.
Yeah, man. That Zodiac killer, man, tying people up and then, you know, just stabbing them in the back.
I know. Well, watching it makes it like,
just cringe.
Seems so like crazy, horrible, because you're kind of like seeing it and thinking about it.
You know, I think the first person they were talking about, like the bone collector, whatever he's called. You know, that lady found like on Albuquerque, found like walking the dog, found some bones. That's horrible, man. I mean, it's kind of hard to find like people who does that stuff because these people are really smart, so they just bury the bones.
They can't be very smart about it.
Yeah, they bury the bones. And it's kind of hard. You gotta really like be on it to really find a person to do that. You gotta like kind of catch them in the act, like catch a person, and then look at the same MO they're using. You know, that's no way you gonna catch them.
It's crazy to me how many serial killers there are out there.
Yeah.
Even now they say there's like.
Yeah, it's like so many.
Like 30 or 40 or something.
And they like to do prostitutes because they feel that people are not gonna really care about them. Yeah, that's why you gotta do it. Which is horrible. Like, man, just these crazy people, man.
Yeah.
Man.
There are definitely a lot of weirdos out there. I just don't understand how you can just kill like.
Yeah, just for fun.
For fun like that, and like it's nothing. But
yeah.
They're crazy, literally.
Yeah, thanks, Mars, man. Thank you for this request, man.
So cool and different.
You have some great ideas, some great requests, video requests. I said ideas.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been fun, man. Well, I'd like to say again, thank you for your support. But we're about to go in this video. If you want to send us a special video request, check out the links to our Streamlabs. It's going to be in our description, and our video cards provide your link and email address. And keep the videos under 12 minutes.
And if you want to support our channel, check out our merch. It'll be in the description below.
Don't forget to subscribe.
And thumbs it up.
Turn on notifications. It's your man, Boy B.
And Nicole.
We're going to catch you on the next. Stay awesome. Peace and love, baby.